Hey, good day. It's Tourism Tim here with another exciting episode of Tourism Marketing TV. And today I'm honored to have on a friend and former client of many years ago, Nancy Merce-Prichard, who is a co-owner and co-founder with her husband Terry of Sea Kayaking Adventures. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Tim.
Well, this is I want the viewers to pay attention here because we're going to cover some really amazing stuff with Nancy today and learn how a couple working together have, celebrating 18 years in business, have become one of the top adventure travel companies in the world. I was looking at your website, and you guys do an awesome job at clearly maximizing your credibility that you've earned through some of your awards and accolades. National Geographic Adventure Magazine, Best Adventure Travel Trip, National Geographic Traveler, 50 Tours of a Lifetime, Outside Magazines, 48 Trips of a Lifetime, and it goes on and on and on. And I know that this was not something that just happened. You earned something like that, and I'm really proud of you guys, and you should be too.
Well, thank you. We love what we do. We feel very honored to be doing it.
Very good. Well, why don't you give our viewers just a quick background of what you and Terry do, where you do it, and how long you've been doing what you do.
Okay, Terry and I met as sea kayaking guides in Baja in 1991. We loved it so much, and we were river guides in Idaho in the summer. And my husband had worked as a guide in the Salmon Islands. We decided we loved each other, we wanted to do this, and we wanted to do it for life, so how were we going to do this? So we decided to start our own business called Sea Kayak Adventures, and we operate still in Loreto in Baja California, Mexico. And we added British Columbia's northern Vancouver Island in 1996, it being the best place in the world, we feel, to paddle with orcas. Over the years to that, we've added some other trips, but those remain our mainstay and our loves.
Besides some of the awards that I mentioned, what were some of the other notable, not only awards, but one of the things that I really appreciate about your website, and I'm going to reference your website a lot because I recently named Sea Kayak Adventures the travel website of a sales superstar, because I think your site rocks and you do so many of the things right that no doubt have contributed to your growth and success over the years. So one of the things that you do on your site that I like is your use of the media, and you've got little icons of the covers of the magazines. What are some of the other media attention that you've earned over the years?
Well, one of the things we're proudest of is one of the senior editors at National Geographic Traveler magazine brought her family with us to one of our British Columbia lodge-based kayak tours, and that was a great honor. We also send out press releases on a weekly basis, and a lot of newspapers and magazines and blogs and travel writers just ask for those press releases and pop us up on their media pretty regularly. So that's worked very well for us, and they've come to know us and we've come to know them. We've also hosted quite a few travel writers. We started a blog, Facebook, all those things recently.
It's neat when you're able to leverage the relationships and the previous media that you've earned and use that to seed other media, because when one media sees that, wow, you were featured in this magazine, and boy, that you got this award or this article, maybe we better check them out too, which is kind of neat. And then something you said earlier before we started the interview today, we talked about the importance of relationships, and it was neat that we've known each other for so long, and I think that is the essence of the business that we're in. It's a people business, and maintaining those relationships with suppliers, media, customers,
absolutely,
advocates, and getting them, making them spokespeople and advocates for you it really works. It really works.
Absolutely. We could not do it without our local, very important connections locally in the small town of Loreto, and also in Port McNeill, Port Hardy, northern Vancouver Island. We actually even have very good relationships with our fellow outfitters. And to me, that's been very key. We help each other out. If we can't service a client's particular needs for a certain kind of trip, we'll call our fellow outfitters for them, and we'll refer back and forth. This is really good because we love we love the resource. We're operating in a very small town. It's just better for the customers if we all get along, cooperate. Then the customer actually gets what is the best match for them and the trip they're looking for and the experience they desire. So that's worked really well over the years. Also, local government officials, restaurants, hotels, taxi services. Our business brings them very appreciated and much needed income to these small rural areas. And it's a very good partnership. We bring the business, they really appreciate us, they really give superior guest service to our people. We couldn't ask for a better situation. We feel very honored.
Well, one of the things that you just mentioned, Nancy, which I think I really want people to hear that's so critical, two things. Not only do you clearly invest in keeping your communication open with your suppliers and the infrastructure in those areas, but the thing that you, relative to staying in touch with your quote-unquote competitors and working together and collaborating to serve the client's needs is something I don't hear enough of, and I really commend you for doing that, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
The customer is who pays us money, and we want to serve them. And when we do that, whether it's directly or indirectly, they appreciate it, remember it, and we need to help each other out. And that's part of my goal in doing these videos and helping create community is that we can learn from each other. So I so appreciate your time today and sharing some of your wisdom and your experience. So I love the story about that you and Terry met as guides and fell in love and are pursuing a business, doing the thing that you most love to do in life, and that's be outdoors and to kayak. And that model of people pursuing what they love to do is replicated all over the world. And so I really commend you guys for doing it and able to do it as a couple and to grow. What are some of the other things that you have found that your business has facilitated and that you really love? How has it helped your lifestyle and over all these years?
Well, we have really enjoyed seeing our staff develop. As we've gotten older, I mean, we've been in business, it'll be 19 years. So at first we were the guides, and then what we've done and what we've seen happen over the years is sort of we've spawned or given birth to the next generation of guides. And we've actually seen sort of several generations of guides pass through us and have developed and have come to love and really carry on the tradition of superior guest service, advocates for the local environment, and really an appreciation of ecotourism and how it can really benefit the environment. We've had some of our guides go on to save sea turtles in Baja. Some of our Mexican guides are now completely involved with tagging and sea turtle research on their off season when they're not kayaking with us. In Canada, our British Columbia guides have gone on to write letters and stand up for saving the salmon, saving the orcas. So that's really great. Just to see both areas where we started as guides, Terry and I, now the areas in Loreto. Loreto Bay is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Magdalena Bay, Gray Whale Lagoon is federally protected. And Robson Bight up in Canada is the world's only orca preserve. So the local governments have made huge strides in protecting these resources.
I like the way that you position your role and kind of the hierarchy or the evolution of a travel business is that we bring not only our guests to have these new life-enhancing experiences, but we bring in other generations of people that have the same affinity, the same passion that you and Terry did, and help them along. And you've probably heard me say before is that that ultimately we're in a life enhancing business. That we're in a quality of life business, and we enhance life not only for our guests but for the staff. And no doubt you guys have spawned some new love affairs too, not only with nature, but I bet you there's some new couples out there because of
actually, yes. Some of our guys have gotten married already.
Oh, see, it's just a circle of life, and it just keeps coming around, Well, what I was trying to think, you and I were chatting a little bit before this interview, and trying to figure out where did we meet? So you had suggested that Terry had met me at an America Outdoors conference. Tell me more about that.
Well, America Outdoors is a very good organization for U.S.-based businesses. Tour operators, particularly rafting companies, horseback riding companies. I think we're the only international sea kayak company involved. But it is a very good venue for resources online, issues that are common to outfitters who are usually mom and pop type of enterprises. And every year there's a big conference in December where there are many guest speakers, and Terry and I have been about every 5 years to the AO conference, and called Confluence, and excellent resources, speakers, seminars on insurance issues, liability, how to improve customer service, how to navigate the new social media, all kinds of issues that all of us small outfitters are trying to juggle, given our limited, time and resource to do everything we need to do to run a small business. And also just to meet other people in the biz and have fun together. So we look forward to that every year. And I believe that's where we first met you. And you've been very consistent over the years in your cheerleading. I feel like I get a cheerleading email every time I get your newsletter, and you're always upbeat and very positive and have very many constructive things to say.
Very good. Well, thank you. AO is an excellent organization, and I was pretty involved with it years back. And I think actually Dave Wiggins and myself founded a infamous hospitality suite that just grew so big and so popular so fast. Actually, the hotel one year in Salt Lake City busted us because we had two suites adjoining that we had put kayaks pushed the beds up against the wall and put kayaks up on the dressers and stuffed them with ice and cold beer, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And luckily, Dave Wiggins and I did some fast talking and convinced them that we needed to do this hospitality suite. We moved it downstairs, and it all worked out. And the following year, we went to with Adventure Sports Online, Laurel with Adventure Sports Online. We moved it to a art gallery. That was great, but great organization. So you and I, we've known each other for a long time, and I know that we did some consulting together many years ago. It's got to be at least 10 years, I think. You guys were considering going down. We were just looking at Baja at the time. What are some of the things that you remember from our work together? And thanks for the compliment on the cheerleading, because it's not always easy, this business, and we need to learn from each other. And I want to keep showing the reality of the business, but at the same time giving people encouragement, showing best case studies of best practices and so on. But what are some of the things, Nancy, that you and Terry remember from our work together that you've carried forward that has made a difference in your business?
Well, realizing you helped us in our transformation from sea kayakers who had no knowledge of business to how to run a business. I mean, we were expert at customer service and guiding service and kayaking and navigation and first aid and those kinds of things. But how to run a small business, that's a huge difference. So again, we had to learn from ground one on business principles, customer service principles, keeping the focus. It's so easy to be distracted by all the things you have to do. Sales, marketing, we didn't know how to do any of that. So your steady stream of email, gave us the points to focus on at each stage of the development until they became more second nature. And again, it's so busy every day here, it's easy to get lost in all the details. And it's very nice to have a mentor and a guide to focus you back to the business fundamentals, because we can't run a company on love alone as much as we would like to. You still need to pay your staff and deliver your product. You still have to operate by business principles, and as well as superior customer service. So you taught us a lot in that regard.
Thank you. I noticed that one of the things that I really, one of the reasons that I named your site as one of the travel websites of sales superstars is that you used your what I call the credibility statement, which is featured in my new course, so in such a conspicuous place, and it's so clean and so nice. And don't worry about the phone. Hey, we're in business together, and these things happen. Quick, make the sale.
Terry will get it.
Good. Is that right at the very top of your website, and we're it's seakayakadventures.com. But I want people to go there and check it out. But right at the very top, in the upper left-hand corner, because that's how we read, top to bottom, left to right, it says, since 1993, Sea Kayak Adventures. And then the very first words in your content says, celebrating 18 years in business. And I thought, yes! This is so important to establish that credibility. And literally the seconds we have when someone first visits our site and they don't know how wonderful you and your staff are, your trips. What do you think have been some of the, how do you think that's impacted your business? And as far as attracting more prospects and converting that prospect into a sale, the way you've communicated your credibility, which is one of the things I know that we worked on right away.
Right, I just think, yes, the years in business and with experience, that does offer a lot of security to customers. And yet we remain as freshly in love with our destinations. Each year when I go there, I fall in love with it all over again. Each time I read something about Baja or British Columbia, I fall in love with it over again. I mean, it really is a life passion of Terry and mine. But just so the years in business and the experience that we have there, the relationships that we've created there, as well as being still passionate and alive and wanting to share that with others. So, you know, it's almost 19 years now, and I see no signs of us not falling out of love with the places we go. As the world gets more crowded, polluted, our areas are oases. They're world-class destinations, we feel, of peace and rejuvenation. The air is clean. It's quiet. How many of us in our urban lives have absolutely clean air, absolute quiet, with nature around you and fabulous marine mammals going by you, and the stars at night? There's no light pollution. I mean, it gets more special as the years go by.
As life gets more busy, I agree. We definitely need to take the time to connect. And the challenge and the downside of being in the tourism business sometimes is that you know that and I know that, and those of you who are watching this that have got these beautiful places we take people to, or these experiences, we know that they're fabulous. We know we do a good job. But guess what? The people coming to your website who've never heard of you haven't got a clue. And
right.
Unless we can convey that in seconds, the clarity of what you do, how long you've been doing it, you're a good choice, and that what they have found is what they're looking for, literally in seconds, you are robbing these people of that life-enhancing experience. And that's why it's so important to be super clear, super laser, and to get them to go a little deeper into your site, for them to understand that what they're seeking, you offer. And you need to do that in your marketing communications, and it has to happen fast. And so I really want to encourage people to go to seakayakadventures.com and check out the site. Also in my course, I go into great detail on your website, and I know you haven't seen this yet, Nancy, but I know you're going to love it, as to specifically what are the elements that I feel grab people's attention, pull them in deeper, and gets them off their fannies to call you and make a booking. Because if you weren't generating sales through, and your website is probably one of your primary vehicles, isn't it?
Right.
You wouldn't be able to pay your staff. You wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't have share the lifestyle that you enjoy, or started new marriages of your staff. So it just keeps going round and round and round. So thinking in terms of other travel professionals, some of them been in the business a while, like yourself. Some of them have dreaming about getting into a travel business. You know, they have a passion for an area, a sport, a skill. They're on the other side of the planet, and they go, gee, I'm not so sure whether I can turn my passion into a business. What would be some of your advice for current or tourism professionals, or even career seekers, on that they should be doing as they move their dreams into a business or a career?
Well, first of all, I'm assuming they know their business, their product really well. Like, for example, my husband and I were experienced sea kayaking and river rafting guides, so we knew all about the first aid and the cooking and navigation and safety. So there has to be a solid foundation of that, whatever it be, whether it be horseback riding, whatever the outfitter is. Then you've got to learn, yes, those business principles, the marketing, the sales, the website design, all the things that you teach in your course, because we couldn't have done it without that. You've got to have the marriage of both. And then your next issue is time management, because how do you get all that done? And you start slowly. My husband and I, our first year, we ran 3 trips, you know, while working outside jobs as guides, and then you build up slowly. I would tell someone that it's going to take 3 years to even start standing on your own feet as far as financially. So again, you need to think about money, cash flow, all that. We worked outside jobs while we were saving up. There's just a million things. Now, I will tell you an observation I have. It seems to me, like in the AO conference, a lot of outfitters are what I would call baby boomers. They're in their 50s, 60s, approaching 70. I am wondering, they're all going to want to sell their companies, I would imagine. So that's a potential opportunity for people who are guides or managers to think about. I've talked to other outfitters, and they're starting to think, oh yeah, I've been having so much fun for 20 or 30 years. How do I don't want to stop this beautiful legacy of these eco-tours. How do I pass that on? Who's going to take over for me? So a lot of, that's just, I predict it's going to be a way of the future in the next 5 years.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because I've thought about I've noticed the very same thing, and there's a part of me as I move forward that thinks that, you know, I should be facilitating these relationships, not only the guides and the managers who want to take over an existing business with an existing brand and an existing credibility, which is could be a really smart move as opposed to starting from scratch. I don't know if you're familiar with Austin Lehman Adventures. But huge company, super, you know, they're competing at the top end. I put Dan Austin and Mr. Lehman, I can't even remember his first name, together to become Austin Lehman Adventures. And so, yeah, no, that's a really good point. I think people, if they've got a particular affinity for an area or region or sport, they've got the money, they should look at buying a business, or often a seller would be wise to finance it and to create, you know, like you would a house. You'd put a deposit down, and every year you finance the business out of cash flow, and you know, and maybe I'd keep that person on your advisory board.
Exactly.
You and so many others are a wealth of information that you cannot buy. And I've been really blessed that I get to constantly learn. I'm as much a student, if not more a student, than a teacher, of constantly asking what's working, why, and how can others do the same.
Right.
Well, Nancy, before we sign off here, I know that we've got travel agents and other people out there who might be interested in your outrageous trips, and they are really cool. I know where you go, and although I have not been on a trip with you, I'm familiar with the areas, and I look and they are some of the best places on the planet as far as natural beauty. how would people best get a hold of you?
We have our website. We have a toll-free number. We have Skype. We answer our Facebook hourly. We answer our email, info@seakayakadventures.com. We answer it constantly. I check my email pretty much 7 days a week.
Okay. So info@Sea Kayak Adventures. That's Sea Kayak Adventures, plural.com. And your toll-free number is
1-800-616-1943.
Very good. Well, I really appreciate your time. You've definitely shared some critical things today relative to, you really demonstrated how you can take your passion for sport, a region, and find a similar soul. And really, soulmates can pursue their passion and make a great business and help others along the way. So I think that you guys are really on the leading edge, and I'm proud that I featured you in my new course. And I look forward to our continued adventures together.
Thank you very much, Jim. It's an honor.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah.